What's up, guys? So today I'm going to be breaking down how to make $200 a day with food delivery apps like Uber Eats and DoorDash as quickly and as easily as possible. This is going to be kind of long, but I just want you guys to know it's everything you're going to need if you want to just get out the door and do it the right way. I'm also going to give you guys a couple other ways to make $300 to $500 as you're signing up, just because you signed up in this certain way. So that'll be usually because of the links below that'll have intro bonuses as well as a startup for that Chase Bank account I'm going to talk about, which is going to give you an extra $200 just for starting up and depositing. But I'll get into all that. Like I said, if you have any more questions, more than what this video entails, then you can just contact me directly at my Instagram, which is going to be Renee Vasquez 44. And I'm also going to try to post some value content on this food delivery page I made, which is going to be called @DeliveryDegree, and that is just going to be a place where you can get a bunch of bite-sized information pieces that'll help you with your day-to-day trips and stuff. Oh, and also at the very end of this video, if you really want a bunch more detailed information, I actually have a free course that I want to just throw to you guys. There'll be a promo code at the very end. You guys can use that, and then you guys can have access to it. I think it's like 14 videos at this point, and they're all super in-depth on how to get started. If you're the type that just really needs to get, handheld through the whole process, and you're not just sitting in your chair being like, I want to get out there and start making money already. Some people, this is all they need. This is all they're going to need. It's just going to be a quick outline. They're going to get the gist of it, and then they're just going to go out and start making money. So I wanted to cater to both types of people. And to reach that, I'll either put a link below or it'll be in my bio, in my link tree, and it'll be called Delivery Degree Course. But anyways, so how to get started as soon as possible. I have a list right here on my phone. I'm going to go through and make sure I don't skip anything. So first thing you're going to want to do is make sure you grab any intro bonuses that these apps have available before you actually sign up. You basically have 60 days to complete whatever amount of trips that they're requiring at this time to qualify for that intro bonus, and then that's going to be added to your balance within the app, which is basically just free money for making those trips you were already going to make. DoorDash right now, I believe, has a $300 extra bonus given to you when you complete something like 270 trips. And that might sound like a lot, but if you do on average, and this is what I do, I'd say 20 to 25 trips a day for like an 8-hour day. If you just round that down to 15 trips a day, all you would need to do is hit 15 trips a day for 18 days, sometime between now and 60 days from now. So you can basically get it done in almost a quarter of the time that they give you. So that's pretty cool. And like I said, it's just an extra $300. Other apps like Uber Eats and Instacart also have some sort of bonus too. I believe Uber Eats has a guaranteed income that you would make when you complete a certain amount of trips with them, which is not too bad. I'm not sure if there's an actual bonus at this point because Uber Eats can be a little more bougie since they're kind of like the mainstream app everyone uses. They probably have a lot more workers at their disposal. So an app like Instacart, though, should give you a bonus when you start using them. I'm not a fan of Instacart because I like doing a little more fast-paced fast food delivery and restaurant delivery, but Instacart is more grocery shopping. But if that's more your style, you can check that out, sign up using my link, and then you should be able to get an intro bonus when you sign up. These intro bonuses also tend to go away. Every few weeks, they'll change the price that they're giving out, or sometimes it'll be as low as nothing for signing up. So make sure that if it is a high sign-up bonus, something like $200 to $300, that you jump on it and you don't waste any time, because otherwise that could go down to zero. I've seen it literally for the last month and a half before. It was at something like $0 or $50, and now it's at $300. So I don't want to stress that too much, but I do want to stress it because it's the only time you can actually do it. So yeah, I provided those intro links below, which you can use when you sign up. Make sure that you click that, start the sign up process, and then you can come back to this video when you're done. And I also put them into a Google Doc just in case you want to save that and download it and just keep all those links in one place. So yeah, you're going to go to either the resource page or the links below, and you're going to start the sign up process. I would say use DoorDash first because they're going to accept you the quickest. I've had people sign up and get accepted with as little as 30 minutes wait time. So you're going to click that link. That's going to show you the current bonus. Right now it says do 270 deliveries by March 25th for a $300 referral bonus. And then you're also going to type in your zip code so it'll know where it can have you deliver. Type in your email, which will be linked to making your account, and then do all that sign up process, doing your password, probably giving them your social security number, taking a picture of your ID, stuff like that, so they can do a quick check on you, and then possibly uploading your car info. But you don't just have to use a car to start. If you don't have your own, I'm going to talk about how to rent a car or get one so you can start working to have enough money to buy your own car. And also you can start with a moped if you have one and it's more accessible in your area to actually do that. I've seen people with mopeds make the same amount of money as me, and I have a car that I use actively. So depending on your area and depending on the distance between orders, that could be a better option or just as good as a car. So anyways, using that, make sure that you get the intro bonus, and you're gonna do that for all the other apps, Uber Eats and Instacart. Make sure that the referral codes are applied, or that you see a confirmation of some sort that the intro bonus is being put on. Otherwise, I've had people sign up without the intro bonus and then try to add it, and these apps do not have any tolerance for that. They don't let you get that intro bonus if you signed up the wrong way. So after DoorDash, I would say you do Uber Eats, and that's gonna actually take about 1 to 2 weeks to get you approved, which is why I say you kind of just sign up just because, and then you let that get approval as you're finishing the challenge on DoorDash. And as far as age requirement for these apps, the minimum age that you have to be is 18 years old for DoorDash and Instacart, and then the minimum age for Uber Eats is actually 19 years old. In terms of car requirements or vehicle requirements of any sort, Uber Eats is probably the most strict. So the oldest your car can be on Uber Eats is like a 2000 or newer. With DoorDash, I don't believe they have an age limit for the car. And then with Instacart, they don't even ask for your car information whatsoever. So they don't care how you get to finish the delivery as long as you are a member. Okay, so moving on to how to make the most money per hour. And to do that, I kind of need to explain how this whole delivery process works real quick from start to finish, so that you guys can realize how to be as efficient as possible and how to make the most money. So just bear with me. So with Uber Eats and DoorDash, you press a button that makes you as the user go online, which means you're available for taking orders, and then eventually the app is going to ping you with an order and give you around 30 to 60 seconds to decide whether you actually want to take it or deny the order. So it'll show you all of the info about the order. It's going to be the name of the restaurant, how far the restaurant is from the customer, how much money you're going to end up making for the order, and all the details you could ever want, all the way down to what items are in the order. But the key is that you don't have to take every order that comes to you, contrary to what some people think, which is that they're gonna give you some sort of consequence for not accepting orders, which is totally not true. There is no difference in the money that you make by the amount of orders that you deny or not. So I'm living proof of that. I've made $1,500 a week consistently, and my acceptance rate has been lower than the near perfect thing that people try to shoot for. So my point is, taking the right orders, and only the right orders, is the biggest determination on whether you get paid $20 to $25 an hour consistently throughout the day, or whether you end up like those other people that have just tried these apps, not actually known how to do it the most efficiently, and then they leave with a bad taste in their mouth because then they just tell people that, oh, these apps don't pay enough and it didn't make sense and I waited a long time at this certain spot or whatever, and then they just give up on the opportunity as a whole. So to reiterate, there's no penalty at all for not taking orders on these apps, regardless of what anyone tells you. I've had to stress this numerous times to people, and trust me, I've done my own research. I have a whole course on this stuff. I've literally gone to the website and screenshotted the exact areas that say there's no minimum requirement for acceptance orders. Blech. There's no minimum acceptance. You don't gotta accept every order. That's what I mean. So anyways, now that you know this, the next step is knowing what orders you should take to make that $20 to $25 an hour mark, which is what I shoot for as the most realistic for like a consistent day-to-day basis. So my criteria for orders is this. On DoorDash, you wanna take orders that are no less than $5 per trip. And if they are as low as $5 per trip being the minimum, the trip distance should be less than 2 miles, period. That's pretty much the bare minimum that you can go to make that good $20 to $25 an hour range. But even I would prefer that the most ideal orders you take are $6 to $9 and still less than 5 miles total. That's what I go by. That's literally like what I look for in like a split second at this point when I see an order on my screen. And orders with this criteria will usually take you around 20 minutes to complete. So you should be able to do about 3 of those per hour. And if you do the math on that, say an average of $7 per trip, you'd be coming out with at least $21 every hour. For longer distance orders, you got to remember this. If an order is going to be more like 5 to 7 miles in distance, the order should be definitely at least $10 or more. And then anything higher than that 5 to 7 mile distance range, just make sure you're getting at least $1.50 per mile that you're going to be driving. So if a trip is 9 miles away, you're really not going to want to take anything less than $13.50, because after the time it's going to take you to get the order at the restaurant and deliver it, it's just not going to be worth your time that we're shooting for if you're taking less than that. So if you keep that criteria, you should end up making no less than $20 an hour. And if you do that consistently for an 8-hour day, you'll most likely end up leaning more towards $25 an hour because of tips and stuff like that. On really busy days like holidays, I've seen my constant hourly rate go to a $30 to $35 an hour mark. But obviously holidays don't happen every day and it's a lot busier, so you got pros and cons there. One fact is that there's no limit to the amount of hours you can currently work on DoorDash, so you can basically work as much as you want, make as much money as you want. With UberEats, they technically have a 12-hour limit on working basically straight before you have to take a 6-hour break. But technically, you should just be calling it quits if you're going to run out that. Like, I've never ran out the meter for working before I have to just go to sleep naturally. So technically, you could hop from Uber Eats to work on DoorDash, but if you're working that long, you should probably just take a break and, wake up the next day. So for Uber Eats, the order criteria is almost the same. They recently changed their order criteria from what you see as far as the price of each order to be an estimated total instead of like an exact total. So on DoorDash, if you see $8.50, you're gonna get $8.50 minimum, sometimes even more when they tip you cash or whatever. On Uber Eats, if it says the order is gonna take around 1.5 miles, take about 20 minutes, and then has an estimated order total of $10.57, they're basically accounting for what they expect the tip to be on that order, which is kind of messed up. I would rather just see the actual amount that I want to get and then say there's an opportunity for tip, but that's just what they did, probably so that people don't think twice when they look down at their screen and they just click orders. But it still doesn't affect my average pay too bad. I haven't seen like a dip in my payouts since this change happened like a few months ago. And basically 9 times out of 10, the customer is going to tip around that amount or more. So you don't really have to be worried about it, but it just is kind of weird how Uber Eats decided to do that. So the customers have about an hour to tip you whatever they want, and the app will give you an alert on how much they tipped, so you guys can actually check what orders gave you what tips. So yeah, DoorDash is a lot simpler as far as what you see on the order payouts is exactly what you're gonna get, and that'll be the worst case scenario, you might end up getting more. So as far as being as efficient as possible to make the most amount of money, there are some other details you wanna think about, like where you should park to be the most efficient, whether you should use the drive-thrus or not during the day or nighttime, what restaurants you should prefer, things to avoid, stuff like that. But I don't want to make this video super long, so like I said, if you want to look into it more, you guys can check that out in the actual course. Okay, so now moving on to how to track expenses, and before you get out the door and start taking orders, you're going to want to make sure you know what expenses you should be tracking and how to do so. So if you're working with these delivery apps, that means technically you're now self-employed, and you're going to be able to take advantage of the opportunities that come to those who are self-employed, which means you're going to be able to take write-offs and deductions. So you have to know what you can actually count as a write-off, and that's what I'm going to explain right now. I would say the number one most important thing to track before you head out the door is your miles. So basically you're going to be able to take a deduction on every mile that you drive for business, whether you use a personal car or a car that you decide to use just for business. But the point is, for every mile as of 2020, they were giving people 57.5 cents per business mile. So if you did the math, say you make $6,000 a month, that'll most likely take you around 3,000 miles to complete. So if you multiply 3,000 miles by the standard deduction rate, which is 57.5 cents per mile, that would actually equate to $1,725 in tax deduction that you can take on your profit. So that's pretty cool. And if you were to do, say, $6K a month all year, that would equate to $20,700 in tax deduction. And that's pretty crazy because most likely your car is not even going to be worth that much. It's going to be worth somewhere near the $3,000 to $5,000 range. Ideally, since you're going to be running up a lot of miles, you're going to want to use a lower end car, something at the bottom of its depreciation curve, slightly older but still reliable so that you can actually depend on it to work these hours. But like I said, you're only going to be doing this for probably around 2 to 3 months, and then you're going to be using that money to start another business or get into a new hustle. That's the goal. That's what I plan for you guys to do. But yeah, that's the biggest thing as far as deduction is just making sure you track those miles, and you can do that in a number of ways. The first way and the simplest way is basically just looking at your odometer every day, writing that down on a notes file or a piece of paper, and then tracking what the odometer says at the end of the day, and then doing the quick math to see the difference, and then you know exactly how many miles you drove that day for business. So the second method, which is the one I use, is going to be using the QuickBooks Self-Employed app. And basically it has an auto mileage tracking feature, as well as helps you track your income and expenses to give you a better picture of like what your actual income is throughout the year. So I think it's pretty cool. It's like something like $10 a month. And yeah, so that's what I use. you can use a more bare bones version of a mileage tracking app, which is going to be an app called Stride. You guys can look it up. It should be a blue icon, and I'm pretty sure that's completely free, and you can still mileage track. So you guys can use that if you want. You can also keep track of your expenses that you're going to make on your car, like oil changes, every time you fill up gas, stuff like that. But you're not going to be able to necessarily deduct that if you choose the mileage deduction at the end of the year. But for those of you who have a car like I was talking about, which is $3,000 to maybe $5,000-$6,000 in price, you're going to get a lot more in tax deductions using the mileage version of the deduction instead of using the individual expenses, because you can only pick one. So picking both would be double dipping, and you don't legally want to do that. And there's a bunch of other things that go into the individual expense method, which is a little complicated, and I don't want to go into it right now, but make sure you consult, tax professional about that, blah, blah, blah. 99% of you are going to go with the mileage deduction. That's what I would say. Literally, basically, you don't have to worry about it. Just do the mileage one. But you can still keep track of your other expenses to see at the end of the year the comparison and how much you'd be getting if you went with either method. So to wrap up this section, there's plenty of other things you can also look into when it comes to tracking for expenses as a self-employed person. And they don't just have to be car related. So if you spent any money on a phone holder or your phone bill in general, those can all be deducted either entirely or to a certain amount. So say if I use my phone 80% for business this month doing food delivery, then I can write off 80% of my phone bill, stuff like that. If I bought a phone holder just to have in my car so that I can use it for food delivery, then I can write off that whole item. If I paid for a membership like Spotify or Audible to listen to podcasts or music and stuff, I can write off the entire subscription price of that every month, as long as I'm using it for business purposes. So stuff like that, you're going to want to definitely look into and keep track of so that you can take all those deductions at the end of the year against the profit, which means you're going to be paying less taxes at the end of the day. Okay, so the last part of this video, signing up for a bank account. Now, technically, it doesn't matter what bank account you use to get these deposits from the food delivery apps, but I would recommend, especially if you're not a Chase customer already, that you use this link that gives you a free $200 when you set up a personal checking account with Chase, when you deposit $500 via direct deposit. Just so you know, both Instant Pay and the normal weekly payouts that these apps do into your bank account qualify as direct deposit. So as long as you make $500 with these apps and you deposit into the bank account within like a 60-day period, you're going to be getting that free $200 just for doing that. On top of the fact that, and this is the most important reason, honestly, if you don't have a relationship with Chase, you're going to want to make a good banking relationship with them for the long run when it comes to getting loans or credit cards or stuff like that. Because if you guys don't know, and I do a lot of research into the credit and banking and lending industry, Chase is like the most bougie credit union bank that you can literally be friends with. So if you make good relationships with Chase, you're going to be getting way easier access to some of the best credit cards out there on the market with the biggest travel bonuses, rewards bonuses, cash back, all that stuff. So that's how people like me who are funneling money in and out of those bank accounts end up getting higher approval ratings for credit cards, which we then use to get cash back, free travel, stuff like that. All because you're making good relationships with these banks. A lot of people my age don't know that, which is why I wanted to stress that. If you have any questions on that, like I said, don't hesitate to ask me. I wish I got that sort of information at like fresh out of high school or even before high school, so I was prepared. And it took me, years of just fumbling around and researching to realize how important credit and banking relationships are. So yeah, I just wanted to give you guys the opportunity. Obviously, it's also free money, but in the long run, you're going to thank yourself for having established that relationship. And by the way, you might think you need to go physically into a Chase Bank branch to start this bank account, and that's actually not true. You can actually sign up all online, and it takes about 5 to 10 minutes to complete the sign up. Then you're going to get your banking and routing information, and you're going to have access to that new bank account, and they're going to mail you that debit card, and you're going to be all set from there. If you live in Hawaii, like me, you're basically not going to have a physical branch anywhere, but you're going to be able to use it all online. So that would just be similar to using something like Cash App or Nova or Chime or any of these other online banks that don't actually have a branch. So yeah, that's literally all you need to know to get started and start making around $200 a day with food delivery consistently. And if you have a car currently available to use, you're going to be able to head right out the door and know exactly what to do. For those of you that don't have a car, I have some methods for you to actually get started without a car, whether that be with a moped, using apps like HyreCar, Turo, Craigslist method that I have, and then also possibly just asking a friend or family member to use their car for a little bit to make enough money to buy a car and then start that way. Which I go into more in detail on my course, and you can also just personally ask me. At this point, I'm like, I can just get on the phone with people. I don't even care. Like, if you DM me, let me know your situation. I'm down to help you out, because at this point, I've got the answer for pretty much every question you could think of. So feel free to reach out to me. Like I said, my Instagram is @ReneVasquez44, or my food delivery page @DeliveryDegree. I should be responding super quick on both of those. And yeah, to wrap up, make sure you use those intro links, which will be below or on the document that I gave you guys to use. And once you see those bonuses on your app, make sure you hit them as soon as possible so you don't miss out on any free money. Okay, so if you got this far into the video and you still want a bunch more information to make sure you don't have any other unanswered questions, you can reach out to me directly and check out my course. If you guys use promo code FREEBIE, that's FREEBIE, you guys can get access to the course completely for free. There's 9 modules in there right now, and I'm gonna be continually adding stuff. So if your questions aren't answered in there, you guys can ask me a question and I'll probably make a module about it. But yeah, so that's everything for now. I'm telling you guys, if you just put your head down for the next month or two, you'll be able to come out of this with a crazy amount of money that you can use to get you out of your financial position if you're in any hardship, or you can use this to apply it later into a business of some sort, a new hustle that can get you up onto your feet. But yeah, guys, so I'm excited to hear from you guys. Seriously, like, if you made it this far, that means you're actually interested. And at this point, you just need to go out there and get the learning curve out the way. You guys can hit me when you make your first trip and your first payout and all that, because I really want to actually hear about it. But you're going to be surprised. The money that you can make from this, especially if you put your head down for the next month or two, this money can literally change your life. And if you apply it right into the next hustle that you want, or just to get you up off your feet out of any financial debt, it can literally be life-changing, especially for someone that's like my age that doesn't really have access to a lucrative opportunity like this in like this quick of a fashion. So yeah, as far as questions, I'm all yours. You guys can hit me directly, and let's make 2021 our best year yet. Peace out, guys.